with VentoBot, and today on this episode of Don't Kill the Messenger, I'm going to show you the 4 steps to get sub $1 webinar registration leads. People registering for your webinar, masterclass, master training, whatever that is, for sub $1. Results like 32 cents webinar registrations, 17 cents webinar registrations for clients that I've done in the past before. Now, before we begin, if you're looking to generate never-ending leads, go to ventobot.com/book to get the book. We'll send it over to you for free, just cover shipping. Now, the first step in getting sub $1 webinar registrations are the add to PDF download. Now, the important part of this is if you're running straight an ad directly to a webinar, the registration cost industry average is anywhere between $8 to $15, sometimes even more than that, depending on the type of industry that you're looking to target. Now, what we found is that when you put an ad directly leading to the PDF download, for example, a cheat sheet, take the webinar, condense it down to like 3 to 5 steps that you're going to cover in the webinar that you're going to go more in depth into, condense that down into the PDF download. And what's going to happen there is you have people raising their hands saying like, yes, I am interested in this topic. I want this issue or problem solved. And that's going to allow you to get those people coming in the door. And then you go ahead and move into the second step, whereas you delay the PDF sending to them, for example, and then you offer the actual webinar. So in the second stage here, this is how we go ahead and do this. We have an ad that leads to a PDF download, a cheat sheet, or whatever, the freebie of some kind that says, hey, these are the 3 to 5 steps on how to solve XYZ problem. And here it is, just go ahead and we'll send it right directly over to you. Now, once they click on that ad and they say, yes, I want it, generally you get to some landing page and then you enter in your name and email address, and then they go about that process. What we found to work even better is using a chat bot to go from an ad directly sending to a messenger, saying, here you go, I'm not going to ask for an email address or anything like that, not yet, because you want this, and I said I would give it to you, and here it is. Now, what that does is that becomes a subscriber in your chat bot, and that allows you to retarget people even more efficiently in an even better way. And you delay the PDF, for example, like 8 minutes or so, let's say that. And then you offer immediately after that, like, hey, here's the webinar that goes much deeper, masterclass or training that goes much deeper into these steps for you. Because before you ask someone to give you their time, you say, will you take 3 to 5 minutes to read through this particular piece? Yes or no? If they raise their hand and say, yes, I'll give you 3 to 5 minutes to raise my time for this piece, great. At the end of that, on the back end of that, once they opt in and they subscribe to your chatbot, they haven't given you their email yet, you then say, hey, by the way, before you leave, while it gets sent over to you, would you like to spend a little bit longer with us so that you can go much further in depth into this? And that's going to allow you to get that person to say, you know what, actually, yes, let's go ahead and keep going, because that first yes is very important. And then they move into the second step here and you offer that webinar. Now, before I forget, if you're looking to generate never-ending leads and how we go about this process with our personal private clients, going over to ventobot.com/book. You can get the book for free. We'll send it right over to you. We have about 50 copies left here that I'm actually packaging and sending over to you directly, and that will get you started on that 4-phase complete automation strategy. Now, the third step to actually getting them once you offer the webinar here, this is where we go ahead and capture their email and their phone number to register for the webinar. It's important that at this phase we actually capture that information, because before we're giving them something first. We're saying like, hey, do you have this problem? Do you want this thing solved? Yes or no? Yes, they click on the ad. Here it is. I'll send it over to you. Before you leave, would you like to go a little bit further in depth into this? Because we don't want to make sure that you're actually serious about this. And then once they say yes, that's when we capture their email and phone number. And that way you're not just building a list of leads, you're building a list of actual qualified leads, people that are very interested in this and they want to know more and they want to go further with that. So once you capture their email and phone number, that's when we then send them to the pre-webinar sequence. And we do this again. This is all done in one flow for chatbots, right? It's all done in one flow. It's a simple, it works kind of like this. You have an ad that goes to your chatbot, right? And then that asks for like, hey, we delay about 8 minutes or so. And then that gets them their PDF directly to them right then and there. Once you give them that PDF, again, you're offering the webinar saying like, hey, would you like to go deeper? And that's going to allow you to go, and then we capture their email and phone number. And then that PDF then leads to like them getting the registration. And then we send them, we send that information to like whatever email auto responder you're using, for example, like MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, whatever that may be. We send this information back up there, and we just keep them going. We're already in conversation with them. We have them going, and that moves them into the next step and gets them there. That's how we were able to spend about $10.31 or exactly $10.31. We got 31 webinar registrations for our client, and that led to like some back-end sales there. We also, another client of ours, we ended up getting, we only spent about $4.83, I think, something like that. And we got $17 webinar registrations, right? That resulted in over $22,500 in sales, program sales on the back end. And that was simply because we followed this process, right? $4.13 or 83 cents or something like that to get the over $22,000 in program sales on the back end for our clients. Now, if you're serious about actually getting results like that, then I would go to ventobot.com/book so you can get the book and how we take our private clients through these 4 phases. Go ahead and we'll send it over to you for free, just cover shipping, and we'll send it right over to you. That way you can get started with the new year on, hit the ground running and really get going. And we talk about this in the group as well. I showed actually in our group, in our private group, that once you get the book, you're invited into the group so that you can go over much in detail and things like this. This is just kind of an overview of the 4 steps of how we go about that. Again, we go and add it to the PDF download. That's how we get people raising their hand and saying, yes, I need this problem solved. Then we offer the webinar right on the back end. We say, hey, would you like to go even faster, even further, more in depth? If they say yes, then we ask for their email and phone number. This is when we do it. We don't ask to give them this PDF download. We just want to give that to them because we want to make sure that if they can implement, great. They'll come back to us later if they want to go faster. But of the people that want to go faster now, we ask for their email and phone number to give them text reminders, email reminders, and we can register them for the pre-webinar registration sequence. And that gives, you have emails leading up to it, whether it's an auto webinar or a live webinar. You have text messages leading up to it. You have Facebook Messenger messages leading up to it. And then you can all do that in chatbots with, for example, we use ManyChat. That's one of our preferred platforms, being an educator partner with them and whatnot. But that allows us to get sub $1 webinar registration leads. Now, before I forget, if you're serious about getting never-ending leads, go on over to ventobot.com/book to get the book. We'll send it right over to you, the 4 phases we take our private clients through so that you can generate never-ending leads and start that process yourself. There's a lot more than just this in there. We go really in-depth into the 4 phases that we take all of our private clients through so that they can generate never-ending leads and get sales on the back end as well. Now, as for next time, I'm sure we'll be covering another piece of it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and comment below, and I'll see you next time.